Welcome to 96.3 OHM Radio. This is Tales from the Manor, presented to you by Enough Pie. Enough Pie is a nonprofit organization in Charleston's Upper Peninsula that uses creativity to connect and empower the community. Tales from the Manor features a conversation with residents of Joseph Floyd Manor with me, Jae Smith, and my co-host, Summer Anderson. Joseph Floyd Manor is a public housing high-rise in Charleston's Upper Peninsula filled with unique and wise elders who have incredible stories to share with the world. So we're here to shine a little light on these neighbors and learn a bit more about the people that came before us. So thank you so much for listening. And today I'd like to welcome my special guest, Curtis Thompson. Thank you for being here, Curtis.
Thank you also.
Curtis, thank you.
Yes.
We're happy you're sitting here with us tonight. Mm-hmm. Can you share with us where and when you were born and a little bit about the place where you grew up?
I was born in Charleston, South Carolina on the east side in 1953. I am the fifth child of the 8 children. My mother did domestic work. My dad worked at the Navy Yard, forklift driver. And on that particular side, the east side was a rough side, and we were low income area, but my parents was able to buy a house on Drake Street, and we did very well. I also picked up on that side, I picked up a job while I was young because of the financial difficulty we had at that time, and I was able to, get the things that I really wanted in life from just working,
How old were you when you started working, and what was your first job?
I started working when I was about 9. I used to help the janitor in school. After school, I would sweep the hall and sweep the classes, and I would get my lunch free. Yeah. And he would buy me clothes and things like that. You know what I mean? And my parents really appreciate that because they need help would have been good.
With 8 children.
Yes.
Need all the help you can get.
That's right.
I love a big family, and it's really good to have relatives around you that support you, and you can just grow up
yes.
kind of just around a tight-knit group of people. Mm-hmm. And so it sounds like you guys had a nice time, even with the struggles and everything that went on. You persevered and made it through. And is the street you grew up on, is it any different from where you live now, or?
Yes, it is. It's very different. But first of all, at that time, I have 5 sisters and 2 more brothers, mm-hmm. and seemed like we got along great. Today, it's more difficult for people to communicate for some reason, but back in those days, we actually really just show concern.
Right.
About other people, So that was good. I don't see that now. On Drake Street, all the black people on Drake Street, Afro-American, they used to own their house, but maybe about 2 or 3 people around there own their houses now, People just moving out of downtown. Things are getting very expensive. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow. And so is there anything that you would like to change from that difference? Because it seems like it's changed a lot, especially in the downtown area. Just me being here, I've noticed that a lot of people have the same story where there was a lot of African-American families in the houses here, and now that they're not, and it's becoming a little bit more scarce, and people are coming in and buying up places mm-hmm. and making them new, and it's just like the mm-hmm. history is kind of that yes. is kind of just being erased mm-hmm. slowly. Mm-hmm. So is there anything that you'd like to change about that situation? Are you on board with the change, or how do you feel about it?
When I came back from Germany, because I was in Germany about 3 years, mm-hmm. when I came back over here, I found out that a lot of things was different. I came from Germany, was a very clean place,
right?
And when I came back, and I didn't know how ragged Charleston was till I came back. But a lot of older folks should actually value things, you know what I mean? They really did take care of things. My mother and the neighbors would actually sweep the street every Sunday, Saturday morning. And we just had an area that was very clean, And everybody was concerned about each other at that time. But today, it's hard to get able to be as close as they was back in the day,
Right. Do you think that that could be because of the people that are moving into the new areas, the age gap, maybe? The older generation was there and they kind of, liked community and tight-knit things and everybody does for each other. But younger people may not be doing that. Do you think that
Yeah.
could have something to do with it?
Well, back in those days, everyone had what they call a relationship with God. You know what I mean? At that time, you would find all the older folks would attend church, and that helps a lot too. And these days, because a lot of people don't get into a relationship or don't have a connection with any kind of spiritual, identity, so it's kind of difficult now. Just for instance, for me, I found out that without godliness, the man cannot never be the man that he's supposed to. So we had that back in those days. So when people grow together, you find lack of love and lack of care. So back in those days was great, but now it's different.
When you mention your faith, has that been important to you through your whole life? Has it always been there, or is that something that has...
Well, even when I was younger, I used to stay a lot with my granddad. My granddad would go to church, and I remember walking all on the other side of town, in the nighttime, and come back home real late and go to sleep, and that helped me out a lot, And but it was mandatory that we go to the church. Even if my parents didn't go to church, we had to go to church,
Right.
So that did help a lot, yes.
And was your grandfather the relative that you were closest to?
Yes, because of the 8 people being in my family, my grandparents, did what they had to do, to lighten the things on my parents. So, and then he knew I was a worker, so I would, if he wanted me to do something, I would jump to it, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And so since having that relationship with Christ and with your family growing up in church, I know I come from a really strong background of just church in general. I grew up Kojic, then I grew up AME. So I definitely know the ins and outs of actually, I wouldn't say force, but, being encouraged to go and create that relationship with him. And I know how special it is and how it can really take your future life to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
So with that corporation, with the Lord's corporation into your life, do you think your life is any different than you have imagined, or has he taken it different places that you never did imagine? Or tell me a little bit about that.
Now, it wasn't always easy. When I went to trade school in 79, and I graduated in about in 81. And I came back here and worked for a little while, and I went into the service. And but when I got out of the service and I came back and started working, back in Charleston, hanging around with certain friends, I had about 10 years of my life that I unaccounted for.
Wow.
Right now, I am an ordained minister for going on 6 years right now.
Wow.
And I know that it was the Lord that carried me all the way through that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And after I thought about the time that I was in a lot of difficulty, I knew who was holding my hand at that time. You see.
Exactly.
So I began to kind of wonder how I got over.
Right.
And I know it was him that was taking me over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you mentioned you were in the service. I think that might have a little thing to do with the hat that I always see you wearing. I see you almost every day, and you're wearing this black beret with a leather rim on it, and I'm always like, that's the spiffiest hat I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And so does that have anything to do with it?
Well, I learned a lot of discipline in the military. And besides going in the military, I never went any place. Charleston was my home. I would go uptown, North Charleston, downtown, but the service gave me the opportunity to travel. And I became kind of close with a lot of people I never did know in my life. Not only black, white, Puerto Rican, and Indian, Hawaiian. And so it helped me a lot to know that there's different people and get to know them and interact with them and everything, you know what I mean? It did a lot for me. So I wasn't a fighting unit, I was an infantryman. And 3rd Armored Division in Germany, we was in combat support. And a lot of my friends was kind of macho. I became macho myself. So, I'm proud. I was proud to serve my country, you know what I mean? And it's kind of honorable that when I got out of the service, I was able to give my mother an honorable discharge paper for her to put on the wall. So that I'm still proud of that right now.
What do you think the biggest lesson you learned in the service was?
Well, one of the biggest lessons I've learned is that there's certain forces in this world that I try to keep people from being united together. And sometimes it would take a fight in order to get that to work. But I found out that people of different culture can actually get together, you know what I mean, for a common cause.
Right.
And I learned not to take everything personal, you know what I mean, and I treat people like they're supposed to be treated, you know what I mean.
That's a good lesson.
Yes,
We
yes.
could all relearn that lesson
That's
in
right.
this day and age, I think.
That's right.
Definitely. You spoke about how kind of keeping people on track and everything. So I think that might have something to do with why the residents of JFM elected you to be the Residents Association president.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that. What does that mean to you? And I see you trying to get them together and doing different projects and trying to get just everybody in the building to feel like they're at home. So what does that role mean to you?
You know what? I didn't want to be the president. I had a lot of work other to do for the ministry, and but they sensed something that within me that I was able to bring together. And the resident we had 156 apartments, I believe, and we have maybe about 200 people that live there. But anyway, some of them sick, some of them got physical ailment, and some of them got mental ailment, And to work with them, you got to be sympathetic, you know what I mean, and have empathy also, to be able, because being the president, they come to me with lots of problems. And not only about maintenance, certain things ain't working, but you have a lot of people that never live in close vicinity with people. So I would try to talk to them how to get along. And with some problem, I think we have discarded God, with it for some of them. But I really do care about them, and I hope, things get better for most of them,
When you look back at your life, what would you say you're the proudest of?
One of them is having an honorable discharge. The next one is I'm proud that I was ordained. It were certain things in my life that God knew me before I knew myself. And because of the difficulty I had in my life, for instance, I had a drug problem one time. And one of the main things in the ministry that I'm in, if anyone come there with a drug problem, I had a drug problem, I'm going through it, they would give me that person.
Right.
Because you got to know what you're fighting against. A lot of people don't know what they're fighting against when they think about drugs.
Absolutely.
So, and the only way that I can help that person is because I was an overcomer.
Right.
You see, so I know how they feel.
Yes.
So when they tell me, say, you don't know, I know.
You've been there.
Yeah, so I'm able to, and that's a great fight.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But you also give them hope because they look at you and they see that there is hope and they can get over it.
I was in a recovery program at the VA hospital, And my first recovery, I think when I got out, I failed about 2 weeks later. And the next one, I failed about 6 months later. And I found out that, when I went to a higher power, I did no longer need recovery because I was delivered from it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's because you really surrendered.
Yeah.
It's hard to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, most things that to be a light in this world, you have to have some kind of supernatural power embedded in you to achieve that. So even when you get to lay, you're able to see the future. See, because in prosperity, the way God, I understand it from God, is your burden light and your pathway bright.
Yeah, I like that.
So when you have a connection with God, He don't make things hard for you.
He opens the doors and you walk through them.
Yeah. All you got to do is bear with it because you're not bearing with it alone.
Right.
And then to be able to know the future, see, I know where I'm going at. You know what I'm saying? Because He carried me, carrying me places. I'm surprised to even be here,
Oh.
Yeah.
We're happy you are.
For those of you that are just tuning in, I'm Jae Smith, and I'm your host of Tales from the Manor. And we're talking to Curtis Thompson just a little bit about his life and his journey and his faith with the Lord. And he has a song here called Jesus Cares by the Barnes Family. And we're going to take a short break here and let you listen to it and just enjoy the music. And we'll be back with a little bit more from Curtis Thompson.
Sing this, come on. Jesus cares when I'm burdened. Yes, He cares when I'm all alone. Yes, He cares when I'm in misery. Oh, yes, He cares. He cares for me. And He cares when I'm discouraged. He's concerned so earnestly. Yes, I know Jesus cares. He cares for me. Oh, yes, He does. Jesus cares when I'm in sorrow, when my pain is so hard to bear. And He cares about my situation. It's good to know He's always there. When my days are dark as night, He'll be there. He'll make it all right. Yes, I know Jesus cares. He cares for me. How many of y'all believe that? Come on, help me sing. Oh, yes, I know that He cares. To my last time, He'll step in right on time, 'cause I know that He cares for me. Come on, help me say it again. Oh, I know that He cares for me. Oh, yes, He does. a company keeper. Oh, yes. When I'm down, he picked me up.
And we're back. Thank you so much for tuning into 96.3 FM Ohm Radio, your nonprofit, non-commercial local radio station. We are broadcasting live from Workshop at 1503 King Street inside the Ohm Radio studio. I'm Summer Anderson, and I'm along with Jae Smith, the host of Tales from the Manor. For those of you who are just joining us, we have been talking with Curtis Thompson, and we're so excited he's here.
So, Curtis, your song that you chose, Jesus Cares by the Barnes Family, how does that song connect with you? It's a very beautiful song, and it brought back some of my old Kojic memories.
Yeah.
So how does that song connect with you?
You know, it's sometimes in life, I lost a son in 80,
Wow.
and on a car wreck, and I lost my wife in 82.
Wow.
And at certain times when holidays come, like birthday and Christmas and stuff like that, I'd be by myself most of the time, not just because I wanted to. Mm-hmm. And those times that when I feel a little hurt, I sing that song, you know what I mean? Because when you're connected to someone, you really miss them, you know what I mean? And sometimes I just wonder, you know what I mean? Have you ever experienced death with someone close? There's certain times that, you know, bother you sometimes.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, I bet. It's very uplifting, especially going through those troubled times.
That song get me through it.
Right.
Yeah.
Just to know that he cares and that he's here with you and you don't have to, like you said, walk it alone. You're not alone in it.
That's right. That's right.
Curtis, if you could hold on to one memory from your life, what would it be?
I think there's an apostle who died about a few weeks ago. Years ago, back in '96, I was getting off a bus, and a friend of mine told me to come walk with him, and we went on Cypress Street, number 35, and inside there was about 4 or 5 people, and I know it was a place that, you know, a praying house, you know, but I joined them in '96. And the guy died the other day. And I always remember him because he helped me along, you know. We get deep in the study of theologies and stuff like that, you know, and so now and then we are able to practice, you know what I mean? I think I learned a lot from him, you know. So that's one thing that I would always carry with me. It's sad that he left because he wasn't that old. He was only 61, you know, but God knows the right thing to do, you know. Yeah.
Was he the reason you became a priest?
A minister.
A minister, excuse me.
Yeah. You know, when there's certain part that in life things get die inside of you.
Yeah.
When you see kids playing, you can see true love and true friendship, but along the way, we begin to lose something.
Yeah.
And when you find God, what he do, he resurrect those things that was dead in me, you know, and make it anew.
Right.
So I can actually truly love a person like he's supposed to. Today I can be a good friend, a good son, a good neighbor, a good husband, you know, a good individual in the community, you know. So those things are excited, you know what I mean? So it was, and through him, you know, nurturing through him, you know, I'm still practicing that right now today.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Good radio show guest, too. You can add that.
Curtis, while we're on the topic of remembrance, how would you like to be remembered?
You know, right now I teach at a Voice of Hope on St. Philip Street, 249 St. Philip Street, and I do a lot of studying, and I get into it. And when I first started speaking, I would always get nervous and anxiety. But after I said 2 or 3 words, you know, it seemed like something come over me.
Just rolls on off.
You know what I'm saying? And one day, a guy on Columbus Street came and talked to me, and he said, man, you helped me out a lot. I didn't know, because when you speak to people you don't know, who all taking it in.
Right.
But I met him. He tell me how much I helped him. That'd make me feel so good, because sometimes you don't know who's taking in what you're saying, And I felt really, really, really good about that,
Yeah.
that I can help someone.
That's a great way to be remembered, as someone who helps and who aids. And as my brother likes to say, he's in the ministry of help. So
Yeah.
you're definitely in the ministry of helps.
Yeah,
And that's a great way to be remembered. It's an honorable way to be remembered.
Yes.
Does it ever feel like, because you're a leader in your church and in your community and even in the place in which you live, does it ever feel like pressure or too much responsibility?
I believe that sometimes when God give you almost like a shepherd heart, that in church they got something that what they call the clean hand syndrome. So
What's that?
in other words, you always want to teach them right.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You don't want to say nothing that will cause them to stumble or fall. You know what I mean? So I take what I teach them so very serious that I try to make things so plain to them that they can follow, certain direction,
Right.
Yeah.
You boil it down to its simplest.
Yes.
My message is the children's message is always my favorite.
Because I believe that the church is a place that want to help people, and a lot of people can't come there for comfort. And because certain things in their life, and when they're there, I want them to be able to kind of learn that they go out not the same way that they come in. Right. They go out being a better person.
Yeah.
Yes.
You've been listening to Enough Pie's Tales from the Manor, a conversation with residents of the Joseph Floyd Manor with me and my co-host, Jae Smith. To learn more about Enough Pie, a nonprofit that uses creativity to connect and empower our community in Charleston's Upper Peninsula, please visit enoughpie.org. To learn more about Ohm Radio, please visit www.ohmradio963.org. Thank you so much, Curtis, for joining us today. You were an incredible guest. We appreciate your time.
Appreciate it.
Yes, Curtis, and I really hope to see you do more in the community soon. And I got my eye on you, watching you with with your beret.
Thank you
so much
Thank
for
you
joining
very much.
us.
Thank you.